Alright everyone, so in this video I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know and understand about RAG agents in order to go ahead and build your first functional system. I'm going to explain to you what RAG agents are, how they work, what are some of the key differences between buffer memory, Postgres memory, Supabase, Pinecone, knowledge-based RAG, and then I'm also going to show you some use cases that I think are extremely powerful solutions that you can go ahead and sell to businesses if you're running an AI automations agency. And of course, I'm also going to dive into my N8N account and break down some functional RAG setups, which are going to be absolutely essential for you to build your first system. Now, as a quick side note, any single template I'm going to share in this video, I'm going to go ahead and leave for free in my AI automation agency Wizards school, which is free. You can join. I'm going to leave a link in the description, and then you can go ahead and download those templates, plug them into your own account, and start playing around with them. Now, of course, guys, this is not going to turn you into an absolute god of RAG. However, it's going to give you more than enough information to understand and be in the top 1% of people who play with RAG agents. I'm going to start with the theory first. Let's get all the basic principles out the way. And of course, if you want to skip to the action part, I'm going to leave a timestamp in the video where you can click and just go straight to the N8N setup. With that said, what is RAG? I know this is a fancy term. A lot of people are throwing it around. So RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. And don't let this confuse you or scare you away. All it means is it basically stores a large sum of data in such a way that is very easy and quick for an LLM to go ahead and search through it and find the relevant piece of information you're looking for, and on top of that, generate a response for you and provide it back to you as an answer. This is all it is. And of course, if you're a total nerd, you can pause the video and go through this diagram right here, which is going to help you gain a more in-depth understanding. But this is all RAG is. Right now, when I first started learning about RAG systems, I kind of got reminded of knowledge bases, and I was curious to find out what are some of the key differences between the two. And the key difference, guys, is that RAG kind of finds and explains information to you via text message or whatever through your database. On the other hand, knowledge base, it just stores that information, right? There's no way for you to dynamically interact with it. So this is like the main difference between RAG and knowledge base, and here are a few other differences as well. Now, you probably have seen people online use either Pinecone or Supabase for their RAG solutions, and they each have their own use cases and pros and cons, I guess. The main difference that I found is that Supabase stores your data in such a way that it kind of looks like a Google Sheet or a CSV file, and that way the vectorings are gonna be easier for the model to access and provide you accurate responses back. On the other hand, Pinecone just stores your data as a Google Doc, a large sum of text, and this is like the main difference. Of course, one you can self-host and run locally, one is open source, the other one isn't, and whatnot. Of course, you can pause it and go through all the key differences here, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, if you've seen previous videos that I did with N8N, you notice that I was using buffer memory for all my builds. However, when it comes to building RAG agent systems, you always want to be using Postgres memory. And the reason is because Postgres memory is permanent, is being stored inside of your Supabase account, and you can always access that conversation you've had with your agent, or all the queries that you sent to it, everything you asked for it to do, and maybe you have some sort of use of that data. On the other hand, buffer memory is temporary. So every time you complete your N8N workflow, that memory of the conversation you had with the agent is going to be deleted. So again, this is the main difference between Postgres SQL memory and buffer memory inside N8N. Now let's get to the juice here, man. What are some of the powerful RAG agent use cases that you can go ahead and build and also sell to businesses? We have a few of them, and I think right now RAG agent systems and anything AI agent related is super hot, and there's a lot of interest surrounding this space. So I would highly empower you to go ahead and tap into this opportunity and learn how to build those solutions and also sell them to businesses. I have a lot of videos on my channel where I kind of break down all that. But in terms of AI RAG agent use cases, automated sales insights is a very interesting one where you kind of update the entire CRM of a company into a Supabase vector, and then you provide them with an agent that can kind of go through all the data, summarize customer data, past interactions, and provide relevant sales tips or whatever. Another use case will be working with a law firm to summarize all their case studies, their contracts or laws, and help them with faster decision making. Number 3, we have a client proposal generation, which is, I guess, something similar to what I'm going to be showing you today, that allows you to create tailored proposals for potential clients by retrieving similar successful case studies. Another one is a property recommendation assistant, building something that looks like an MLS like realtor.com or something. And you can have inquiries for a real estate agent. Let's say that they receive inquiries through email of people looking to buy a property, and then you can like shrink that process of providing them with information using a RAG agent. So the inquiry goes into the agent, the RAG agent does some sort of a search in its vector database, and then it provides them with relevant property recommendations. Real estate VA, virtual assistant, is something very similar to number 4. And then another one will be SaaS performance reports. So generate reports for team members or stakeholders where you summarize all the performance metrics and KPIs of the company inside the database in Supabase. Those are a few powerful examples and use cases. Now let's dive into my N8N account here and start breaking the agent setup down. Okay, so this right here is the RAG agent, and of course I only connected one tool to him. You can go ahead and over the top give him many different tools. For the sake of this example, I wanted to keep it super simple. You can see the trigger is an internal N8N chat trigger. Of course, you can change this with a Telegram trigger, or it could be an email trigger whenever an email comes in. There are a lot of things you can do with it. The AI agent itself, this is a prompt that I gave it. Your job is to take a query from the user and perform a search in the vector store to retrieve the relevant information or data and formulate a response to the user. And then I gave it access to the input message. And this is a tools agent as well. As far as the brains of the agent go, I've used GPT-4o for this one. You can also go ahead and use GPT-4o mini. It's still gonna work and it's gonna make it cheaper. For me, because this is not a real use case, I don't really mind. Now what I want to do now is show you how you can set up Postgres chat memory. So you're going to come here to the memory section of the agent. You're going to click on it. You're going to select Postgres, and then you're going to double click on this. The first thing you're going to need to do is connect your credentials, right? And the way you get those credentials is, number 1, the first step will be to go on Google, type Supabase, create your account on Supabase, and then once you create your account, it's going to ask you to create a project. So create a project, name it whatever you want, and then come here to the settings of the project, go to project settings, and then you want to scroll down where it says database. And here are all the credentials you're going to need and all the connection parameters you're going to use in order to connect your Postgres account or Postgres memory to your N8N workflow. So you can see the host. I can find it right here. Just copy, paste, and then as well as all the other relevant information. So you copy them from here and you paste them inside the Postgres account, port everything, and then you connect it, and it should show that the connection was successful. And then what you want to do is context window length, that doesn't really matter. You can have it to 5 or bump it up to 10 or 20. Session ID take from previous node automatically, and then the table name is just going to populate automatically right here. So that's super simple to set up, guys. The next thing you want to do is come here to your agent, click on tools, and select the vector store tool, and then this is going to pop up. You want to name it, in my case, because I'm kind of building a database of proposals that I can interact with, I named it proposals. Of course, in your case, it's going to depend on the actual use case you have in mind. Description for me is details about proposals. And then the model is going to be GPT-4o again. You can use a less capable model, it's still gonna work. And then here's where it gets more interesting. As far as the vector store goes, I selected the Supabase vector store. So I double click on that. You're gonna need to connect your Supabase credentials again. The way you find those is you go back to Supabase, you click here where it says API, and then copy those. You want I think the project URL. Yeah, this one right here, and then the service role secret, which you can find right here. So I'm not gonna click reveal, just so you guys don't steal anything from me or access my account. But yeah, you just copy paste it there, and then you should be good to go. And then as far as the operation is going to be retrieve documents, because we want to basically retrieve documents from our Supabase vector store, and then or this table right here. Let me show you. And then we want to give our agent access to this information right here. And then you're gonna have to select a table. Now the way you do this, guys, is you have to go here to docs. You're gonna need to create your table, and it's gonna pop up in this section in the N8N documentation. And you wanna click this first link right here. You see Supabase provides a quick start for setting up your vector store. So you're gonna click on this. And what you wanna do is copy this code, just click copy, and then go back to your Supabase account and click on the SQL editor, paste this code right here, and then run it once, and then it should return no rows, and then you should be good to go. Then make sure you save your scenario on or your workflow on N8N, and then refresh it, and then all the tables are gonna populate right here. So select the relevant table. Don't select this one because this one is for where the chat is being saved, the chat we have with the agent. It also saves that. Remember, we're using Postgres memory. And then as far as the embeddings model of this Supabase vector store, you want to use embeddings 3 small right here. And then that's pretty much it, guys. So what I want to do now is I'm gonna save it, and then I want to chat with it and see. Okay, so right now I have one project inside of one proposal inside of my Supabase vector store. So I'm going to say, what is the price of, I think I named it Kevin's long dick. That's his name. Can't judge that. What is the price of Kevin's long dick proposal? Or the pricing structure. Let's say the pricing structure. What is the pricing structure on Kevin's long dick proposal? And by the way, if you're wondering why my chat section looks like this, is because I just updated the my N8N cloud account. So you can also update it because I was running into a lot of bugs, and I think it was time to update it. But as you can see right here, let me make this a little larger so you can see the scenario worked successfully. So the pricing structure on Kevin's long dick's proposal includes a one-time setup fee of $4,000, a monthly maintenance and support at $600 per month, and then additional customization at $250 per hour as needed, right? Now I want to go here to this document in my Google Drive and show you that this information is actually accurate. So you can see the cost overview right here. And of course I can ask it any other question, like let's go back. What is the project timeline about Kevin's or Kevin? Well, I actually want to see what it says if I don't give it the name. What is this project timeline? Let's see. Because I'm not sure if it's going to understand about which project or which proposal I'm referring to. So let's have a look. Let's wait for it. Okay, so it actually got it right. The project timeline for Kevin Long Dick's proposal is as follows. So start date December 4th. So I think this is the same one. Yep. And then delivery on launch is going to be, where is it? It's going to be January 3. So that's also correct. And yeah, guys, you can see it's already working. It's functional. And of course, this is just like a super simplistic example, but yeah, the workflow worked successfully. So now I'm gonna go back to home, and I wanna show you the actual way I'm loading data inside my Supabase store, vector store, and how I also update the existing data of any table in case there are any changes on this document right here. So let's go back to long chain RAG right here. So you can see here we have two scenarios in the same workflow. Of course, you can use different workflows, but it's actually it also works this way because this is going to be, you're always going to have it active anyways, and the triggers are automatic as well. Now this first workflow right here, guys, the way it works is every single time I create a new document about a proposal in this folder, what it's going to do is going to push it inside of the Supabase vector store. Let's find it. So it's gonna push it into this documents table, and that way I'm gonna be able to interact with it. And then the other workflow, this workflow right here, let me just zoom out a little bit because I also want you to see my cute face on the bottom right. And this workflow, what it does is it updates the vector store every time we update any single document right here. So if I go to this project and I change the one-time setup fee and I put it to 6,000, and then I go back, I'm gonna refresh this. So it runs every minute, right? So it's probably gonna need a few seconds to go ahead and populate in the in our own database here. But first, let me break down this first scenario. So the first thing I did is I pretty much connected my Google Drive account to N8N, and the way you do that is through a Google Cloud service. So here's a documentation. No, that's not where the documentation is. So you want to click here, and then there is supposed to be a section where you can check the documentation on N8N on how you can connect your Google Cloud with or your Google Drive account with N8N, but for some reason I can't access it right now. Google Drive, all right, whatever, man. You can do a quick YouTube search. There's going to be a tutorial about it. I also broke down how you can do this in previous videos on my channel. So it's not even that hard. You need to go to Google Cloud, create a project with the N8N name, and then create your oath consent screen. If you already created that before, you don't need to do that anymore. And then enable the Google Drive API, and then create a new key for it, and then come back, connect it, and you should be good to go. So this operation right here is, as you can see, every time a new file is created in this folder, it triggers this scenario, and it updates every minute. You can also change it to like every hour or whatnot. In my case, I'm gonna leave it every minute. So every minute it goes ahead and checks in this Google folder if a new file was created, and if it was, then it continues with the workflow. As the folder, I have this dedicated folder right here, proposals x Supabase, and then watch for files created. So super simple. What I do then, actually, let me get some fetch data here. So what I do then is, as you can see, I set the ID of the specific file so I can use it later on. Now, when it comes to setting up your ID, just make sure you pick the right one because it gives you a lot of different IDs. I think it's the one in, let's see, I think it's this one, the one in spaces. Yep. So it's this one right here. This is the ID you want. Don't grab the ID from permissions, grab the ID from spaces. So you can see it's the same one. And then I set it as a variable. The value is new file ID or file ID, doesn't matter. And then is equal to this ID right here. What I do then is I download the new file that was just created. So that's why you needed the ID in the first place. So I download this, the file based on the ID. This is another function or node inside N8N. So I just dragged and dropped it right here. And then make sure you add this parameter in the options section and you say text, because I think normally it's going to be returned as an HTML or something. Make sure you say text, and then the reason you want it to be this way is because when you test it and you go to binary and you click on view, you want to have access to this text right here, because what we're going to be doing then is we're going to be extracting the text from this file. So this is another module in or node in N8N. So I want to add a new node, man. So it's, if you type in extract from file, and then you want to use the extract from text file, because this is the way we've downloaded that file, that Google Doc is a text file. And then we extract it, we extract the text. So input is going to be data, and then destination output data. So if I test this, it's just going to populate the text from these Google Doc right here, as you can see. And then from here, I connect it to a Supabase vector store. If you've made your connection before, it should be super, easy to set up. Operation mode is insert documents, because now we want to insert this document inside my Supabase account. From list, just select the appropriate document or table you want to use, and then I use a default data loader, and here I'm just using the same file ID that I had coming through from before. So that's another reason why it was important to set it as a variable. Now, if you haven't updated your N8N account, guys, you're probably going to run into some issues, because when you drag and drop the or let's go to mapping here. When you drag and drop this set file ID, it's just going to be a JSON dot file ID value, and the problem with that is that it's going to think that it comes directly from the previous node. And that was a bug inside N8N, so make sure you go ahead and update it. You can update it by going to settings, I think, and then the manage section. You can choose the latest stable update, and you should be good to go. But yeah, the default data loader is going to be the ID of the file that you passed along. Then you use a recursive character text splitter. I'm not exactly sure why or what are all the differences between the three splitters that N8N provides, so I'm gonna have to research that a little more. And then we have the embeddings model, which again we're using embeddings 3 small. Now with that said, guys, I wanna go back before I show you the other scenario here. You remember when we changed the price on my proposal from 4,000 to 6,000? I want to go back and see if the agent actually, if it updated the information. So let's go back to home, and then let's click on this agent setup right here. And I want to chat, what is the pricing structure on Kevin's long dicks proposal? Let's see. So now it's supposed to say 6,000 instead of 4,000. Yep. So you see it updated successfully. So we're all good with that. Now let's go back to home, and let's go back to the other scenario right here, which is also very important, because what if you want to make a change to your proposal or whatever document you have in your folder? You don't just want to be going manually every single time inside your vector, inside of each vectoring right here, and finding the appropriate section and then making changes to it. You don't want to be doing that, right? It's going to be a headache. So that's why it's important you have this automation set up. Now this one, as I said, the way it works is every time we have an update to any folder or any file inside this folder, it's gonna communicate that update to Supabase. So here I'm also using a Google Drive trigger every minute, changes involving a specific folder, and then I'm choosing the specific folder here, and then watch events. This is the operation we want. so every time a file is updated, so the operation you want to use here is file updated. So every time a file is updated inside this folder, it's going to trigger this automation, and it runs every minute. What I'm doing here is I set the file ID once again the same way. So if I fetch some data here, and then I come to this set variable node, just grab the ID from the schema, and again make sure you're grabbing the right ID. Let's see, where is it? Yeah, so make sure you're grabbing the right ID from spaces, and then just throw it in there. And then the next one is gonna be a Supabase node. Guys, this filter right here that I've used, I found on the internet, actually found on like a YouTube video. But what this does is it basically tells Supabase which is the specific row we want to change inside the actual like vectoring. So I don't know why it works that way. I suppose it's some sort of a filter feature that exists inside Supabase. But yeah, just copy this, and then between the asterisks put the JSON of the file ID, and then table name, of course, choose the appropriate table that you have on your Supabase account, and then you should be good to go. So if I test this step right here, what it's going to do is it's going to delete the specific section inside Supabase. And the reason we're deleting it is so we can go ahead and create it again and update it. Here I'm using a limit node because it's returning 4 different IDs, because that's the way it vectors the document that I sent it. So let's go back to N8N. Now, the reason you want to use this limit is because you're going to get 4 different IDs and you only want 1. They're going to be the same ones. So just use the limit node and keep the first item. Max item is going to be 1. And then from here on, it's basically the same as this part. So this part of this scenario basically deletes the specific vectoring inside Supabase, and then this part goes ahead and creates a new one with the new information that we added on the specific Google document. So this is how it works, guys. I hope you got value out of this I guess RAG tutorial video. If you did, drop me a like, subscribe to the channel. Feel free to join my free school, get access to these templates. I'm gonna leave them there. And this template, no matter what kind of use case you build, you're still gonna need to use it. So it's very powerful, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks.